ICPC quizzes Bajabiamila is how someone's key agencies overlapses. The last time we were here, we complained about the fact that they left the man, they were looking for the man, and then they arrested the father. We condemned that.
Yes.
But right now, the man has been arrested, and according to the video that was circulating on the social media, I didn't see a man who was remorseful for what he did. I saw a man who think that he didn't do anything wrong. Maybe he was even a victim. So what's your take now?
Well, I think starting from the ICPC accusing
Bajabiamila,
I think it's long overdue. It's high time when issue of allegation of all this kind of scandal is being raised in our nationals, especially at the federal level, even at the state level. It is important for the person who is involved to step aside for an investigation. Because if you are in that power booking, you can be able to interfere into your investigation. But we believe that the ICPC will do the needful. About the young man not being remorseful, people someone was saying in one of the clips I saw on the social media that the reason why this young man is being victimized because they don't have anybody that is backing him. So the young man, in Abuja, for instance, there are a lot of people who are being packaged for job. They call them job men. Here at the Abuja, there, they call them job men. What they do is they package you, they give you good vehicle, they give you good car, and they give you mission. Either to social agency, go and present yourself as a social person, and tell them that you can do social thing and social thing. You become, we call them local scammers. So what they do is they package you. Probably the young man is being packaged by these same cabals that he said, yes, I paid 400 million naira for this office, and at the same time, I have, so they are also requesting for 45% as a kickback for the kick-off, for the startup part of the agency.
Right.
And I believe that before this young man can have that opportunity to open an office space at the federal secretariat, and at the same time have staff from the federal, from the head of service at the federal level, somebody insider is there to aid his crime.
And don't forget that CBN also opened
an account,
domiciliary account
where we receive international funds. And this young man have been hosting meetings, having meetings, series of meetings with international organizations, diplomats, and all of that. And I believe that there are people who are actually pushing this young man. They are just using him as somebody, okay, go and do this thing. If a cast is on your head, like what is happening, we said that they are accusing our former governor for 1.3 trillion. But there are people who also enjoy these resources from him that are not being arrested because he is ahead of the crime. So that is what this young man is actually facing. And I believe that since the police have arrested him and is currently under investigation, maybe he has said one or two things that have prompted the attention of the
ICPC, the
prison of
Bajabiamila.
And we also hear that there are some laws that are being implemented immediately the president resumes office from this same person, Bajabiamila, that are used to cope almost 54 billion naira for offspring petroleum industry, telling them that they need this money to service some of the things, and these things are not being done. So what we are saying is that let us allow the law take its course, no matter who is involved. Because sometimes they look at somebody who is involved and say, okay, because he's close to the presidency, they have the ears of the presidency, they can now say, okay, let's sweep this under the carpet. Let us see the end of this probe, so that it can serve as a deterrent to other people. Because we have a lot of fake agencies, like what one of our friends will analyze that because of disagreement. That is why Nigeria come to know about this agency. For instance, if there was not a disagreement and the money, the kickback was given back as was agreed before, we will not be aware that all this thing is going on in our country. These are the loophole where our resources, where they channel our resources. Now we have a leaking pocket. We need to close this leaking pocket so that we can use all these resources for the development of our nation. So let us allow the ICPC to do their job, and we are hoping that they will come out with a good result, not just for you to put on media that they are accusing him. Let us see the outcome of it. It's very important. Today, the former governor of Kaduna State is currently with them, and they were saying that they have accepted that they intercepted the telephone or the federal
intercepted.
Yes.
Talking about
L5. So now they are giving us information on how the case is going on. Let us also know what is going on. Follow up. They should not sweep it under the carpet because it's close to the presidency. We all are not. Nobody is above the law. We are all citizens. So
you don't think that he was supposed to step aside from his position?
That is what. But according to the Constitution, I think there is no provision about that when you have a case. But we understand that they have no immunity. Okay. It can still be in that office while the probe is going on. Okay. There is no clause in the Constitution that says, okay, when you have a problem, you have to step aside. I think it just said.
What of integrity?
Yes, integrity is important too. But we are Nigerians. We know that nobody is ready to resign for an office. It's not like in the Western world.
It's still an allegation.
Yeah, it's still an allegation. It
has not been
convicted. Because it has not been convicted by the court. Let us allow the CPC to do their job. But all we are requesting is let us have a prudence or let us have information on how these issues are being handled.
Okay. This one on Punch newspaper says Dangote dumps Naira, begins petrol sales in dollars. Where does this leave us as Nigerians? Because when I hear that people sell things in dollars, is weird. It's just like where if you go to the US and you
buy things in
Naira, it makes no sense.
Everybody would have loved to travel and then buy things in Naira.
It's because of the disappreciation of Naira. If you look at what the coordinating minister of the economy, the minister of finance, Taiwo Ayodele said that the debt rate, that is the 80 trillion that have been circulated in previous also in social media and mainstream media. It's not actually the true position.
That they didn't borrow.
They did not go there because it's an issue of Naira disappreciation, depreciation and the account adjustment. That is how I put it. Okay. So I think that Dangote have looked into that too in terms of the Naira compared to dollar. Yes, if you maybe for instance is selling for now they are selling fuel for 1,250. At yesterday we bought fuel for 1,250.
Yeah.
Maybe Dangote felt that if I sell for this, I may not be able to sustain this production or to refine product to make product available to the citizen. Well, I think we the citizen demand something good, but the federal government that issued the license, they have to come up and give us their own way of regulating these private sectors. Because if it is in the Constitution that you must sell in Naira, so why selling in dollar? So we must look at the Constitution. What is the regulation, the act of that to regulate this private refinery? What did he say? Did he say that whatever refinery, even if you build, you have to sell in Naira or you have to sell in dollar? I think that is the way we can go about it, because without that act, without you looking into that act, it can decide to do whatever it wants to do. We must have the act or the law that governs that ministry or that agency or that private setup. Now we enable us
because this random increase is becoming a recurring decimal.
So
because it doesn't tell good.
It doesn't tell good. Yes, away from these Dangote issues, it's really not this buying with dollar. It's really not just about him. A lot of people do it. Sometimes you see a bag online and they're selling in dollars in Nigeria. Do you think we'll ever get to the point where we put that aside and face our Naira and use our Naira?
They're saying bag. What about lipstick?
Yes.
The thing there is that the Nigerian government have to come out with a law.
Strong policy.
Okay.
Because there is no way you can regulate anything without law. You must make a law. In this organization today, you have an ethics that governs this organization.
Yes.
So if you go against the ethics, that law will speak against you. So if there is no law that says that you can sell only in Naira in Nigeria, there is no way that you can fight them. They have the liberty to do whatever they want to do. They have the liberty to sell in dollar, they have the liberty to sell in pounds, they have the liberty to sell in euro. But if the law is there that before you can sell any product in Nigeria, it must be in Naira. So if you are selling in dollar, even the buyer can take you to court. That this is what the law said. So we, as the Nigeria, we are calling on the National Assembly, let us look into this and see how they can come out with a law that will regulate all these sales in dollar. You can remember vividly that there was a case that was raised in the aviation ministry, that the aviation ministry, they are using dollar to pay for flight. I don't know if you heard about it. I think it should be last year that the aviation ministry are using dollar to pay for flight and to pay for consignment. So they should return back to Naira. But there was issue raised by one of the top officials in that agency that this is not constitutional. That if it is constitutional, they can abide with that constitution. So everything we are doing as Nigeria, especially when it concerns to the public, there must be a regulated act or law that governs it, so that you can be, through that law, you can be able to fight. We cannot take Dangote to court if we don't have a law.
Yes.
We cannot take the steel seller to court if we don't have the law that is backing us. So you must have a law that back you up before you can take somebody to court.
That's right. Okay, so let's talk politics. Kwankwaso was a guest on Channels Television yesterday and answered a lot of questions. And today, the Punch captures it as Kwankwaso Obi signed one-term presidency code. And I recall them asking why they chose that and if that is actually going to be possible and sustainable. One party, we've been actually, Nigerians have been agitating for that for the longest.
If you will ask me, I believe that any politician or any candidate who is ready to work, 4 years is enough for you to work. I understand the fact that
with where we are in this country and how bad it is.
Yes, I agree with that. 4 years is enough for you to work. Why did I say 4 years is enough for you to work? If you give birth to a child, there are some child that under 1 year they started working.
Yeah.
There are some child 2 years is still crippled. It cannot walk. There are some child 3 years it cannot even speak. But there are some child 1 year. So if Obi and Kwankwaso, they have the capacity that when we assume office as the president and the vice president, we can deliver for 4 years. Let Nigeria allow them to do.
It doesn't sound like magic.
No, it's not a magic. We are talking about people who have studied the economy, the policies, people who have already laid down some policies that when we come on board, these are the area we need to tackle. The first of thing we need to tackle in Nigeria is the issue of importation. The reason why our Naira cannot appreciate, let us not swear for our country. The reason why our Naira keeps depreciating is because of what issue of importation.
But this importation, remember when Goodluck Jonathan was our president? I can remember everything is say, do Nigeria, eat Nigeria, eat Nigeria, and they tried to stop importation. And that's why we had, rice. That's why we are even having local rice. We are eating Nigeria. What changed? So do you think that
how did you go about it?
Exactly, because saying that you're going to tackle importation alone, you think that is impossible? It's not going to be a walk in the park.
First of all, we have to tackle the issue of importation and encourage our domestic production. Because if you look at most of the things we consume, I was discovering somebody. I was telling him, I say, all this your online purchase, you have to be very careful. Very soon now, you'll be buying TPK in abroad. Don't like it. We have to encourage our local production. No, to be honest with you, we have to encourage our local production. Because if we encourage them, give them that conducive environment to produce. For instance, there are some rice. When you eat some rice that is made in Abakaliki, and you eat that one that is imported, you see that there is no much different. I'm coming.
Are you eating basmati?
I know, you can eat basmati when you travel overseas. Let's focus on what we have in this nation so that we can be able to encourage. Because without that, there is no way our Naira can appreciate. The only way to appreciate your Naira is to stop importation, reduce, not even stop, reduce importation. Like now, China have made Nigeria their destination of dumb background. And social media, you see China man that is not speaking coming in Nigeria, you just see that Nigeria is their destination. Why? Because we have opened that door of importation. We believe that everything in this country, we can bring that from China. People will not travel, they become a celebrity China goer. They will tell you this t-shirt, I can bring it for you from Ghana. What happens to our Ghana?
So I'm sorry. Don't you think that our producers as well, they have a role to play?
Exactly.
Because trust me, a lot of people want to patronize made in Nigeria. It's not like we don't want to patronize it, but there's a comparison.
Yeah.
Because sometimes even the Ankara you talk about, sometimes you buy an Ankara and sew it so expensive, and at one wash it washes away.
I agree with you on that.
Yes.
I agree with
So
you on
improving on the
Yes.
quality of our production, our
Because I
manufacturing.
also remember on this set, I don't know if you were the one on this set when we were talking about cars and we were talking about how to stop the importation of cars, and then we also said that we should get these people to come and teach us, because it's not like people don't want to buy cheaper cars. Nigerians, they like cheap and even free things, but the situation where you buy a made in Nigerian car and the car cannot take it from DBS to the junction.
Yeah.
How do you handle such situation?
That's a waste of money.
Encouragement is very important on this, because I understand that yes, some of our goods, some of our products are not standard.
Yes.
Especially the one produced in Nigeria.
Oh, we have SOM.
Yes, but what we are saying is that if we can encourage these people, because regular patronage will give them that zeal to increase in their quality.
Is that the first step to take?
Yes.
Encourage them.
Yes,
And
encourage
I think the first step to take is for them to produce
No,
quality
somebody
products.
cannot, let me tell you, if you produce quality product, there is no patronage, you will be discouraged. First of all, is to encourage them. But yes,
If I encourage some standards,
no, I'm not talking about.
you'll be driven to do more.
I'm not talking about substandard. I'm talking about the government giving them compensation.
Okay.
The government have a role to play.
Okay.
Now, the government have to encourage them.
Like funding.
Yes, like funding, giving them the
Conducive
environment
environment.
to enable the cost of production reduce. Because if the cost of production reduce, they can increase the standard of what they produce.
Yeah.
Because if the cost of production is high, these people will produce fake. Like for instance, if you are importing the chemical you will use to brand an akara, you want to change it from white to black, for instance.
Yeah.
You see that when you import, you are importing with dollar, and you come to Nigeria, they want to buy a stipend, you will produce fake. But when you bring in this product with a low cost, you will produce with a high quality. Like in terms of medicine, I saw on media what the NADA, they went to destroy one yes. They were asking the man, why did you produce all this? He said people are, because that this works actually. He said it works, that if you drink it, you know that it's effective. So, but why they try to produce it this way? Because people believe in importation and the cost of importing them and the price attached to it, the common man in the street cannot purchase them. That is his own story. I understand that.
Yes.
That is his own perception.
Right.
That we are producing this so that if others are selling for 10,000, we'll be selling for 5,000. So Nigeria government should give the local producer a enable environment, give them funding, open doors of funding, help them. By the time they are producing quantity, and there is a patronage, encourage patronage. Okay, now the percentage of importation, let's reduce the percentage of importation from 100% to 50% for the first quarter, and see how things will grow in Nigeria. That is what Obi and Kwankwaso is actually after. They said, let us see how we can encourage our producers, our manufacturers, fund them, give them resources, enable the private sector to work, to partner with the government, to grow the economy. Because government cannot grow the economy alone. What government is interested in is that I tried 200 kilometers road, 3.4 billion. We now renovate airport, 74.7 probably 2 trillion. That is what government is after. And now, Kwankwaso and Obi, I'm not trying to campaign for them, but I'm trying to analyze their policy, because I heard them talk, I listened to their conversation. What they after is that they want to encourage local producers, local manufacturers to boost the economy, so that those things you are going to China to import, you can be able to produce them in Nigeria and consume them in Nigeria. For instance, me, I am not a fan of fast food joint. You don't see me there, except I want to take my kids or my family to farm. You don't see me there. I go to local place where I will see shaki, see pomo, see mango. Those are the things.
See the roundabout.
Real stuff, real stuff.
To encourage our local producer so that they can be able to work.
So immediately after this morning, like, you take us there. But want to see Shaki and Pomo and the roundabout.
So I just wanted to say, just to add to what she said, don't you think that there should also be some regulations to say, you know what, after funding, if you're selling something fake, you will go in for it, because I think you rightly gave an example of somebody that sells drugs. Trust me, anybody who sells drugs that is fake, first of all, is wicked, because you don't know who's going to consume it. And exactly, and a friend of mine that stays in Canada was telling me that sometimes some governing bodies just go around to make sure there are no fake products or products that are close to expiration date on your table, and if they find something like that, they can sue. But trust me, in Nigeria, I think aside from blaming the government, we also need to work on ourselves, because a lot of Nigerians are not kind to their fellow Nigerians. Even this biting economy that we complain about, and we complain about minimum wage being just 70,000. If minimum wage gets to 100,000, the price in the market will also go up, sometimes for no reason. So I think we too need to work on ourselves.
Exactly.
Yes.
I agree. It's the rejigging of our mindset. It starts from the mind, and all of us, we have a role to play. We want this country, we want a better Nigeria. It starts with us.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, CEO Pathway Newspaper. As always, thank you for
so
your
much.
great analysis. Appreciate your time. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back. We'll be joined by an educationist. Stay with us. We'll be right back.